Okay. How you doing? My name is Laurie Gomez. I teach 6th grade math at Atkins Middle School. Where are you at?
Here.
You're here. What grade do you teach?
7th grade.
7th grade. Awesome. What subject? Science? All right. Well, awesome. So what I'm doing here is just formative assessments with technology apps. As you know, that they have the iPads here, just like we do at Atkins. Y'all don't have the apps on your iPads, which is okay, because what we'll do is we'll just go through the website to get to it. And actually, if the kids are allowed to use their cell phones, they can use cell phones too to do some of the things that we're going to do today. But the very first one is Plickers, which is probably the best one because they don't even need a device. All they need is the card. So this is what will be shown on the smart board. And what I need you to do right now is just kind of look at the question, decide on what answer it is. Have you ever used a Plickers card before?
No.
No, awesome. Well, what these are is they're cards that have like a barcode to be scanned. So if you look at the card that you have, if you have it facing one way, you have the letter D, you turn it. We have the letter A, you turn it. You have the letter B, and you turn it, and you have it for the letter C. So whatever you think is the answer, you put that answer facing straight up. And so what I'm going to do right now is with my device, it can be a cell phone again, or it can be with an iPad. I'm going to scan your card, and it's going to show us and I gotcha.
I got it wrong.
All right, so and let me show you real quick on my phone. I can see exactly who got it right and who got it wrong. So as soon as I scanned you, it flashed green. So it told me that you were right. So immediately I knew before I even show it on here. So, and then if the kids, sometimes they'll be like, oh, whoa, 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 I think I got the wrong. Can I change it? You can rescan it too, and then it'll change up here. So this is one way that it can be shown. I'm going to reveal the answer. And then it shows who's right, who's wrong based on color. The way that I have it in my classroom is I have a name assigned to it, so they'll see who's right and who's wrong. This is my first year doing Plickers. This is also my first year in middle school. So it's been learning for me, and I'll probably be doing things a little differently next year. But with the Plickers, I started thinking that maybe I shouldn't show the names. Yeah, and it took me a while to kind of figure that one out, because at first it was so novel, the kids loved it. I couldn't really pick up on the body language and the facial expressions of those few that were getting it wrong until later in the year. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that one out. I'm ashamed to say, I'm just being honest, that next year I'm probably going to do what I'm going to show you right now, which is show the graph. So there's no names, completely anonymous, and then they can see how many got it right, how many got it wrong. So really, they will know, and I will know, but none of the other people in the classroom will know that they were the only one that got it wrong, you know. So there's two ways to show it, the students and the graph. So that's how it's actually done in the classroom. It's a great learning tool for me and for them, because what I would usually do is do it like as a warm-up. So they'll do one question, and then if I see that there's some issue, I'll come up and I'll do a little bit of reteach, and then I'll give them another shot and have another question ready to go. So, and sometimes I have to remind them, hey, and this is me teaching. This may not look like teaching because you're having so much fun with it, but I need you to, listen to what I'm trying to do for you right here, because we're sometimes like a lot of review is what I'm doing with it. So I'm going to show you now how to get it set up in your classroom. Super, super simple. What you have right beside you is a handout. And I'm not going to follow the slideshow, but it basically just kind of walks you through step by step. So if you don't remember things that I talk about here, then you can always look at that. It will help. It's the step-by-step process of setting it up in your classroom. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to get these cards. And it's right here. And this is what it will look like when you print it. It's best to print it on cardstock because you want to keep it for the good part of the year. I have some that are laminated, but as I started printing more through the year, as they were getting torn up or whatever, I stopped laminating them because like the first group that I had here tonight, I had so much trouble scanning their cards because of all the light and the glare. So it's just something to think about. Because, you know, anything that will mess up our classroom management, I do try to avoid, and that's just one of those little things. So you can print it here. So then the next thing that you want to do is actually set up your classes. And again, this is in the handout. So these are my actual classes I have at school. And then these are the ones that I set up for today. And then all you do is hit add a class. You put the name in. And I'll just type in something real quick. I save it, and it immediately asks the names of the students that are in the class. So when I type in a student's name, and I did this by periods because I have 6 periods. When I hit enter, it immediately assigned a card to that student. So every time I punch in a kid, and if who knows, I lost a card and I don't have that card. So I can actually, can I do it? Is it not going to let me? If I want to change the card, watch this. I can drag it over and say, no, I want that student to be that card number. So you can switch it up however you want to. Yeah, so it's super simple. So then after you have your class and your roster set up, then you want to make your questions. Because that's the one thing about Plickers that is a disadvantage versus Kahoot or Socrative. There's no question bank. So you have to put them in on your own. So that's where you go to the library, up here at the top. And then this is the question that you just did. And then you can see that 3 groups have done the question, 2 groups still haven't. And then these are questions I've actually done in my classes at school, the math questions that I've plugged in. And these are really itty-bitty because I actually snip them. These are images, and that's why they're so tiny. But usually you can. And what I did, you know, the snipping tool, which is like the most awesome thing ever. I just learned it last summer. Just snipping it, taking it, and clipping it, and then putting it right in. Because that's what these are. These are straight off of I think like a STAR resource that I pulled it out of. Because this was what I was doing right before the STAR test, was going over these questions. So I was doing that as review. Because, you know, they get sick of doing like the paper and pencil. And it's still the STAR questions. You're still practicing it, but it's in a different way. So after you write in your new question, this is where I did this. This is where I put in the question. So you just type it in, and then you have to tell it what the right answer is. So the math, I'm like over here trying to figure out, okay, what's the right answer? Because I want to make sure that I do it right, because they'll call me out on it quick if I do it wrong. So it's as simple as that. Do you have any questions about? Okay, yeah, it's super, super simple. And again, it's step by step in the handout. So after that, let me show you how to look at a report. And I really haven't used this part so much because, again, it really is a formative like check for me, because I'm like really just, I want to know what I need to work on, and I'll do the review right then and right there. So I'm not like looking at full-blown reports off of Plickers. It's very like it's a warm-up. I'm checking for understanding. I got to figure out what I still got to review on, and I go back to it. So this is the question. So this question has been asked 3 times today. So my first group was 57%. My second group, I only had 1, was 100. And then my third group, which is this group, was 67%. And then, so the question, I asked the same question to all 6 periods, and I can compare, like, okay, which class needs more work with whatever that T for that question was. So that's one thing I do like about it. I can compare the classes. Okay, like, whoa, this class like really was low in the percentage. I need to really work with that class more on this skill. And then you'll have, you know, the class that's 100%. They're so all over the place from one period to the next. So that's kind of cool. So, and then one thing else I want to show you on the teacher end is you have to have, I told you, the app on your device. So this is what it looks like when you find that it's the Plickers. So what I did These are all my classes. So like let's say I had my 4th group. So I choose the class, and then there's that question that I had assigned to it, the one that you answered. And then here it is. And let's see if it's going to pop up. See, I click live view. Technology. It's not. Ugh. It doesn't want to work.
It clicks right away.
Yes. But yes, whenever you click on the class and then you choose the question you want, when you click on live view, that was what we did at the very beginning, where I scanned you. So then you can see all the results. Yes, exactly. So any other questions about clickers? Okay. So that one's the only one that you don't need a device. Now, as far as classroom management issues with the cards, I've tried everything because, with 6th graders, I'm, always trying to figure out the right way to make things smooth because, Yes. So I've done it where I've put them in ranges of 1 through 5, stacks of 5, and then the next class throws them and then the other class can't get to them. I've done handing them to them, and then that takes too much of my time. I've done pocket charts where I have groups of 5, and that's actually what I finished off with. And then I thought, well, maybe I don't even assign a name to it. Maybe I just put it in the caddy, and then the same kids all day long will just use what's in the caddy with no name assigned to the card. There was a teacher in the last group that had suggested that they have their own. Yes, and I think I might try that next year. So if I have 200 cards, I print 200 cards. I mean, if I have 200 kids, I print 200 cards. And each kid will have their own card. They carry it in their interactive journal. And then, yes. I was like, that's brilliant. Then nobody has to go and fetch anything. Not their interactive journal, they don't. They're really good about holding on to it. At least with my math class, because everything is done out of the interactive journal. So I think that was brilliant. I think that's what I'm going to do next year. Yeah, and that's exactly what she said. Like a little pocket, like in a folder pocket, and then just have it, and it's theirs. That's their card all year long, and there's no retrieving of any cards or trying to. Yeah. Yes. So that's what I was telling her. I said my best ideas are always somebody else's, so I'm stealing that one. And I'll give her credit forever. Okay, so let's try Kahoots now. So the Kahoot, there on these particular iPads, there's no app, but you can go to the website. It's kahoot.it. And then what it's going to ask you for is a pen. And I did not make this Kahoot. I have never made a Kahoot, and I probably never will because there's like over 8,000 of them in their data bank. So I'm like, why reinvent the wheel? So this is the pen number you're going to plug in, and it's going to ask you for a name. And you said you teach science. I was telling the last group, you name it, you can search for it, and it will be there. My son is a freshman at King High School, and he was taking a test on Romeo and Juliet. I typed in Romeo and Juliet, and it gave us a 30-question quiz, and me and him competed against each other. I was like, there's anything and everything that you can think of.
So if you create one, it stores it in there too?
Yes. Yes, and I'll show you that whenever we finish this. It'll save it in there for you. Because this one is one that I found it, but I saved it under my favorites. So I can access it all day long.
But I guess it was already signed on to them?
Oh,
Now, while we're waiting for the others to get in, I have to change this up. Like with clickers, man, it lost its novelty quick. Like, when the kids are ready for something different, whenever they just start holding the card up like this. Like they're not even working it out. They're just like, whatever, just scan me. Because they need that constant stimulation. They need change. They get bored quick. So when I see that they're done with clickers, then I do Kahoot. And then, believe it or not, then Kahoots gets old. Does Kahoot get old for you guys? Y'all get tired of it? Beatrice, do you get tired of Kahoot? No? Okay, so just 7 quick questions. And what they like about this one is it is a little bit more competitive. And it will give them points based on how fast they are, which is also, there's disadvantages to that, especially being the math teacher. So what you see on yours is this and this. This is what the student sees. Whatever you think is the answer, you just click on it. And then some questions have more time than others. Okay? And if you run out of time, then it doesn't give you any points. Yes. Yes. And they can do this on their devices too. So assessment of learning would be classified as formative or summative. Okay, summative is at the end, like your chapter test, your end of the year star. So Bubbles and V may have gotten it, both of them got it right, but the one that does it the fastest gets the most points. And so that's why they're like frantic and crazy and guessing. Yes, we get so excited when we guess correctly. And this is also good for me too, because like whenever we're doing questions and I'm seeing like half of them are getting it wrong, it's okay. All right, let's stop. Let's talk about why. What's the explanation behind this one? Now, just to kind of point something out, since I did get this off of the Public Kahoot, you see this little acronym that we don't even have a clue what that is. If I would have done a better job, I would have copied it and then edited it. But I didn't catch it when I first found it. So that's the one way that you can tweak it to your own. You got to duplicate it, and then you can edit it. Yeah, you make it. When you duplicated it, you're making it your own. So then you can edit it.
Everybody loves it. It's a really good for us because it's fun and it's education.
Yes.
And usually my teacher makes it up.
It's so easy though. It's so easy. And then even days if you don't even have the iPad, like I said, they can use their devices and get on.
It's been messy, I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually my teacher would mix it up with fun and ¿Qué pasó? Okay, bye. I'm leaving this.
Okay, thank you for your help.
You know how to turn it on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was good seeing you again.
I'm sorry for the disruption we made.
You were fine. You were great. You were a great help. Thank you.
Yeah, you're a great teacher.
Oh, I appreciate it. The trick here was, this says at least once during it. This one says at most. So they have to pay attention to those things too.
I know it's a few minutes early, but I see some people starting to leave. Thank y'all for coming out. This is our first CSASD Middle School Ed Camp. Thank y'all for participating. Thank y'all for teaching. And y'all have a great night. Thank y'all for coming out and enduring the weather. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon.
Oh.
Presenters, make sure you sign in the office. The sign-in sheets are still there. South Park staff, all staff, make sure you sign in.
Okay, last one.
Thank you. Everyone have a great night. Y'all be safe. Enjoy.
So can you
8 more days.
Huh?
Can you search Like, can I type in science, or do I have to type in a specific?
If you did type in science, it would give you everything. Yeah, and then you would have to weed through it all.
Like through it?
Yeah. Okay. So then, but one other thing I want to show you on here is how to run a report. If you look right here on this drop window, whoops, where it says my results, this is when I started figuring out that some kids were dropping out of it because you only see the top kids that are ranked. So there's kids that are down here and are getting frustrated, stop playing, and you don't realize that until you look at something like this. Watch, let me show you this. Well, it's going to give me it's giving me a spreadsheet. Look at these kids, they just decided to stop playing. So I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing? Because I didn't realize it, because I'm over here just clicking and clicking and clicking. And then I realized that I had some kids out here that had stopped playing. And that's another thing that, you know, again, I'm learning too, that sometimes I think I need to pair them up. Because I teach math. It's very challenging for many of them. And those that these are the kids that are overly challenged, and they just kind of get so frustrated that they don't even want to participate anymore.
And can you change the time that it?
That's another thing you can edit. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes.
So you can edit that.
Right, you can edit it however you need to. And there's one other one. We won't have time to do it, but I just want to show you real quick. It's called Formative.
All liaisons to the center. All liaisons, unless you're working with a teacher or something, come to the center.
So Formative is kind of like Kahoots in a way. But the one thing that I like about this one is this part right here. It's called Space Race. And what you have to do, when you get into Formative, you should log into student, and then you would put that code in. And this is my favorite part, is if y'all were playing against each other, when you would get the question right, you move. And you move. And it's like, it kind of reminds me of like the carnival, like yes. So I like that part of this. So that's another one. And so I would just type in it's very simple. Everything is step by step on the handout. And you just type in the question, and they go into student login, and then they type the room number. That's it. And then it automatically takes them to where you're at. Because this is the teacher view. And then the student view is them actually answering the questions. And then it speeds them along. If they don't get it right, they don't move. If they get it right, it moves them. This one I have 5. This one right here is 5. But it can be however many, like 20.
Because we take Quizlet Live.
Quizlets, yeah.
Quizlet Live, they compete against each other. Whenever they get a wrong one, it starts them again.
Yeah, and there's nothing more frustrating than that.
So they have to, and it works as a team.
Yeah, they don't like starting all over again. That's no fun. That kind of takes the air out of their balloons. So yeah, so I'm definitely not, I still have a lot of learning. And like I said, you got to change it up because they get restless and they get tired of the same old, same old. So clickers, Kahoots, Formative, always changing it up. And sometimes no technology is good too. I made board games 2 weeks ago, and they had not had so much fun ever. Yes, and it was circumference, and they're like competing against each other, moving the little pieces on the game board. Like no technology involved. I got to change it up. Well, thank you so much.